Good evening and welcome to the Press Box. My name is Melissa Ponzio and I'll be your host for the next 30 minutes on Atlanta's newest sports talk show. With me is Jim Fiegel and Ty Reynolds, our sports league. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about the sports. So Ty, the NBA playoffs. We're down to 4 teams now. Chicago versus Cleveland and Utah versus Portland. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, at first I thought Chicago was going to pretty much have their way with Cleveland. They handled them pretty easily during the season. But then Cleveland showed us a little something last night going into Chicago Stadium by just blowing them out. So I really think Chicago is the team to beat still. They were the cream of the crop in the Eastern Division. And I just see Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen just going right through the playoffs, and I really think they're the team to beat.
Mm-hmm. Chicago and how many, Ty?
Well, I think it may go 7. I think it will go 7. Now, Cleveland just went in, and they took away that home court advantage, but Chicago, I think, is going to win 1 game over there, and I think it's going to go 7.
Last night, with Michael Jordan being sick and everything, everyone was saying once Michael gets sick, it seems like the whole team gets sick. Do you agree with that?
Well, that may have had a little bit of an effect, but you have to realize that Cleveland came out with a mission, really. Mm-hmm. The media was referring to them as a bunch of cream puffs, and I don't think they liked it too much, and they went out there and showed something.
Mm-hmm. Just got really aggressive there.
Yeah, they really showed something.
Yeah, I think Cleveland might take 1 more game. I think it's probably going to be Chicago in 6. I can't argue with you too much. I was even thinking an outside shot of Chicago coming in and sweeping the series. But what do you think about Portland and Utah?
Well, Portland's got a 2-0 lead, and they've pretty much had things their way. And those were 2 impressive victories they had at home. Utah, what they're going to have to do is that when they go home, they're going to have to slow things down. They're going to have to get the game in a half-court game, and they're going to have to cut down on the floor mistakes that they make. They're just turning the ball over too much. That's creating transition, easy baskets for Portland, and a basketball game is turning it into a slam dunk competition with Drexler and Buck Williams and Kersey, and they can't let that happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, for our viewing audience, if you want to call in with any questions, our number here is 873-3737-6713. Now on to Braves. No success. Let's talk about it here. Do you think it's in the bullpen or what?
Well, I think the bullpen's a major problem here. You've got the Braves. An interesting stat is I think after the 4th inning, if they don't have the lead, they haven't came from behind at all this year. And that's the glaring problem seems to be the bullpen. Mm-hmm. You look at it, Alejandro Pena, over his career, he's been a pretty good pitcher, but, I think he's not really closer material. Last year he had a good August and September, but this year I think just pressure and a number of other things have kind of gotten to him.
Okay.
He is an experienced vet. Juan Berenguer, I believe we have a
we have a phone call about Terry Pendleton. Hi, you're on the air. Hello?
Hi.
Yes?
Yes, I would just like to say that I would, like to fuck you.
Well, let's get back to Braves. Now.
You get them all.
Yeah. Okay.
Steve, I thought you were going to weed them out.
We have the same players as last year. Do you think that maybe it was just luck last year that the Braves went so far, or?
No, that's getting back to the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
Before we had the last phone call, I think a right-handed power pitcher would help out a little bit. I don't know if Mark Wohlers down at Richmond's the answer, but I'm not convinced that Berenguer and Alejandro Pena can, do the job. I hate to bash anybody because I think they're good pitchers, but I just don't think they fit the closer bill.
Well, I have to agree with you a little bit. I think that there's no doubt the Braves really depended on Berenguer and Pena last year, and they've really been struggling. They've been constantly falling behind on the count, and then they've been having to throw 2-0 fastballs, and they've been getting hurt. And so the Braves, it's still early. They have other options to look at. They do have some good young pitchers in the minor leagues, but they're just going to have to wait it out a little bit. Hopefully some of these veterans will be able to come around. But like you said, Jim, we may have to go to Richmond.
As far as position players, I think maybe a problem is first base had been a little bit of a problem, but I think Brian Hunter's going to come around and do a good job. He's a young guy that might have 20, 25 homer potential. I think the biggest problem probably is going to be at shortstop. We need somebody who's got an offensive stick as well as a defensive glove. We've got the pieces, but we don't have the whole gestalt of the thing. We need a Barry Larkin type.
So you're talking
something.
trades here.
A trade, would be my opinion. We've got logjam at certain positions. We've got depth at starting pitching at the major league and loaded through the minor leagues, and we've got a lot of depth in the outfield really too. There's a few young prospects. Melvin Nieves is really tearing it up down at Greenville. That's a Double-A club. He's got 10 homers and 40 RBIs. He's a true major league prospect.
Do you think they'll call Ryan Klesko up this year?
He probably will get a cup of coffee in September. That's a cup of coffee being, kind of get called up when they expand to the 40-man roster. But I don't think he's going to be an impact this year, and he might not be next year even. It might be 2 years from now.
Right, I think Klesko's about a year away. But I think that not only have we been lacking a little bit at first base, which has been coming up, we've been getting a little production out of the first base position lately. David Justice is really struggling, and he had an injury at the beginning of the year, and I don't know if that injury is still bothering him, and the Braves are trying to keep it quiet. But the Braves need him to hit home runs. And Jim, going back to the other guys, not having much offensive production from the second baseman and shortstop, the Braves won with that last year. But what they're going to need is, I think, some consistency out of the bullpen.
Well, I think last year you'll find Jeff Treadway was more of an offensive force at second base. Yeah. With Treadway, you're probably giving up a little defensively with having Lemke in there. But Treadway, you're talking about pretty much a bona fide 300 hitter. He might be 290, might be. I think last year was 320.
Okay, I think we have another phone call. Hi, you're on the air.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, I've got a comment about the catching.
Yes?
Well, it's actually not a comment. Can I get your opinion? Who do you think's better catcher, Berryhill or Olson?
Are you asking me or Ty?
Whoever.
Go ahead, Jim.
Well, I think, I like Olson a lot, but I think Berryhill has a little more to offer as far as, switch hitting. He's got pop from the left side as well as the right side. He's I'm not convinced he calls any better game than Olson, but he's a good, he calls a good game. Right. I'd probably, if I had to pick one of the two, I'd probably give the nod to Berryhill.
Okay. And also, last year, didn't they play Brian Hunter in the outfield some?
Yeah, he's not very fast, so it seems odd having him out there, but he's actually a pretty good outfielder. He gets a good jump on the ball, but the problem with that is we've got really 4 outfielders now, and if there's any moving, it might be a Justice to first base rather than Hunter to the outfield.
Dave Justice to first base?
Yeah, I think that would probably be more of an answer, Justice to first base. That way, it's hard to deny Dion being out in the outfield. He's, I believe, 7th in the league in hitting, and, it's hard to keep Otis out either.
Yeah, well, what do you think they do with Bream then if they move? Well, it just if,
Yeah, well, it's all speculation. I think Bream is, probably seen some of his better years. His knees, it looks like it's painful when he's walking actually. And
okay. All right, well, next we'll be joined by our 2 guests, Kevin Garwood and Butch Post, the president and vice president of the Metro Atlanta Street Hockey Association, also known as MASHA. But first, let's take a look at how this game is played. We have a clip from you, some highlights of last week's 4th annual Atlanta Cup. This tournament was hosted by MASHA, and it was broken down into 2 divisions of 5 teams. The teams were from the Atlanta area, as also teams from Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New Jersey, and even from Miami. So let's take a moment and look at some highlights from last week. Okay, those are some highlights from last weekend's 4th Annual Atlanta Cup. And here we are with Kevin Garwood and Butch Post, the president and vice president of the league. How you guys doing?
Nice to be here.
Good.
All
Thank you
right.
very
Looks
much.
fun out
Yeah,
there.
it sure does.
Very fun, very fun. I'd just like to say that, like Melissa said, it was the 4th Atlanta Cup, and we have had teams from out of state. This is actually the best tournament we've had. 4 years, we've had 2 champions from Atlanta, and we've had 2 champions from out of town. This year, we had a team from Philadelphia and a team from Miami actually in the championship, and it was actually the best championship that I've seen out there. We actually had to turn some people down. We had a team from Long Island, New York, and we had a team from New Jersey. We had to turn them down because the tournament was full, which really was a step in the right direction. But really, it's a great sport, and the league has come a long way. We've actually been playing street hockey in Atlanta since 1975. And Butch is going to kind of talk a little bit about
Okay,
that.
before we talk, we've got a caller on here. Hi, you're on the air.
Hey,
Hi.
how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
I don't know.
Okay. You have a question for our guests?
Well, I was just wondering,
Okay, well,
You may be a little
Hey.
stage right there.
all right,
Cable
let,
TV.
let's talk about the history of the league.
Well, the league started back in '75, like Kevin said. We had an adult program and a kids program running concurrently. We had 8 or 9 teams in the adult program, all really in one division. And I guess over the last 17 years, we progressed to where we're incorporated, and we're a totally separate entity now. We're split into, 19 teams in 3 separate divisions, 3 different
Wow.
tiers of skill level.
Okay, so let's talk about the skill level for a while.
Well, basically in the top tier are what we call our Division One. That's for your more serious players. A lot of players that have come from the Northeast. Those of us that have grown up with the sport here in Atlanta since the Flames since the inception of the Flames. And Division Two, where the vast majority of the players play, that's the middle of the road crew. And we've got Division Three, players that have just now started to get into street hockey, or for one reason or another, enjoy the more laid-back atmosphere in that division.
Do y'all plan on expanding any? You mentioned several cities. Are y'all going to expand any, or basically keep it about the same number it is right now?
Well, hopefully when we get the new facility built over at Wade Walker Park, we'll be able to expand. As it stands now, we've lost the kids program when we moved over to Hairston Park. We hope to, when we have lights at this new facility, to be able to expand. We'll be able to play 7 days a week, play in the evenings. I'm very interested in starting a kids program, and I could foresee us having as many as 24 adult teams.
Wow.
Let me just say something about that. As far as the expansion, we actually have a summer league that runs from June through, say, mid-August. And that's been going on for 4 or 5 years now. And just this past year, we originally only wanted 6 teams. And now we have 10. So the interest is there, and it's just a matter of getting the word out about the league.
How does somebody who doesn't know anything about hockey get involved? I mean, do they have some person that they can call, or?
Well, basically, I guess I'm going to be that person for now. The number anybody that's interested can call myself, Kevin Garwood, at 923-0697. And please just leave a message on the answer machine. But we definitely don't want to discourage anybody. Like Butch said, there's 3 divisions, and no matter what skill level a player is, they can find a division where they can be competitive.
We even have 2 programs that we're aware of that even play at one in particular plays at our facility, and that's Georgia State University plays their intramural program now at Hairston Park. And Emory University has their own facility, too, on campus, and they even had a team in Division II this year, a very good team, I might add.
Okay. Well, you mentioned for you to call, but say that I wanted to play hockey. What would be the equipment that I would need? I mean, do you service that, or?
Yeah, well, the equipment, we were going to bring it up, but we didn't. But the equipment, basically, the only equipment you have to wear are shin guards. There's a company called Milek that makes the shin guards, and a pair of gloves. Really, is the only 2 pieces of equipment that you have to have
For your league?
for our league, and then a stick.
Okay.
But the Sports Authority, they just started selling some street hockey equipment and ice hockey equipment, and really you can get everything you need there.
I might add, though, I highly recommend the use of elbow pads. They're not mandatory in our league, though I foresee the day when it will be mandatory, and helmets.
Helmets.
Most players in Division I now are wearing the helmets with at least a half shield or goggles.
Okay, and you brought up ice hockey. What is exactly the difference between street hockey and ice hockey?
I'll let Butch answer that.
Okay.
Well, basically, the difference between ice hockey and street hockey, played under the United States Deck Hockey Association rules, the obvious difference is in deck hockey we play in tennis shoes. Of course, in ice hockey we play on ice skates. Of course, there are some fledgling leagues, we understand, or some organizations here in Atlanta that are playing on rollerblades too. And we have seen some individuals out at the rink out at Hairston Park on the rollerblades. But basically, that's the biggest difference. It's like comparing Macintosh apples to Golden Delicious or something like that. You know, we're all apples, but there's some differences.
What's the structure of the league? I mean, do you have different levels of play?
We have 3 divisions. We touched on that briefly, but we do have 3 divisions, 18 teams, 3 divisions, so no matter what skill level a player is, they can be competitive. And like I said, we don't want to discourage anybody.
Hey, Kevin, how would somebody go out, I mean, how would they go about seeing some games, see if they're interested? I mean, are they played on the weekends, or?
Basically, right now,
weeknights?
right, we're just playing on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday. And like Butch said, we're hoping to get a new rink at Wade Walker where we can have lights so we can play during the week. But really, this past weekend was a great opportunity for people who haven't seen any street hockey being played.
This is all out in Stone Mountain?
Right. This is actually, it's off South Hairston Road, Memorial Drive in South Hairston at Hairston Park. And we do have the Summer League, and that's going to be on Saturday and Sunday morning. But there's usually hockey out there almost year-round.
Is there usually a lot of people watching?
Well,
We got a phone call here about how to register.
okay.
Hi, you're on the air. Hello?
Hi, I've got a question about the Summer Hockey League.
Yes, go ahead.
Forgive me if you've answered this, but I've been away from the television off and on.
That's quite all right.
How do I sign up for the Summer League?
Okay.
Okay? What you need to do is you need to call myself at 923-0697.
Okay.
And basically, just give me a call. Actually, I will say this, though, that the Summer League is full at the moment. But what I can do is I can put you on a waiting list, and hopefully I can get you in. We're going to be playing 9 games. It's going to be running from June 6th through August 16th. But if I can't get you in for the Summer League, we definitely, would like to get your name and number, and we'd like to go ahead and get you in the Fall League, which runs from October through the first week of March.
Okay. So how many games is that for the Fall League?
The Fall League varies in length. Last season we played, 16 games? It depends on the division you're in, too, because the different divisions have a different number of teams in them. The season it'll run probably from the first weekend in October through, you can count on the first weekend in April.
Okay.
And
Do you
we
accept full team registration? Say if I turned in a roster for a full team?
That is correct. That is something we haven't mentioned that we have for this league is it's really under a club concept. Even though we encourage individuals to join the league, you join as a club, and you're allowed up to 21 players. And the team fees generally average between $600 and $650 a season, and that includes a double elimination tournament playoffs at the end.
I didn't hear if you had answered this before, but what about mandatory equipment?
Okay, the mandatory equipment are shin pads, and we recommend the Milex shin pads because they cover you have to have from the top of the knee cover to the top of the ankle. And it's also mandatory to wear some kind of gloves. They can be garden gloves, golf gloves, or even ice hockey gloves.
Okay. So that rules out the soccer-type shin guards?
No, you can wear soccer-type shin guards if they meet the MASHA minimum, which is, I believe, Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, it's from the top of the ankle to just below the knee.
Uh-huh.
And the officials on site, they can help you determine whether they're legal or not.
How much are the Milex shin pads?
The Milex shin pads, you can get them, I don't know if I can say this, but I am the Sports Authority for $12. Of course, you can get soccer shin pads for far less than that, or I've even seen players out there using banged up old catcher shin pads.
Well, what do you do with somebody who, say like him, who can't get into the Summer League because it's booked up?
Right.
Do they have pickup games or anything that they can go and get involved with?
I encourage anybody that wants to get in, and even if the Summer League is filled up, to be sure to call Kevin's phone number and leave a message on the machine.
Yeah.
And Kevin, go from there.
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, like this gentleman said, if you wanted to bring your whole team in, you could do that. But if for some reason we couldn't get this person or whoever into the Summer League, we would definitely give it our best shot. The teams operate on an independent basis during the regular season, and we would do our best to find out what teams are trying to pick up players, and we would definitely try to get them on a team. And actually, we'll probably have a brand new team formed just from the Summer League. That's what happened last year. And really, if somebody really wants to play, we can find them a team.
It's not that we can. We've never turned anybody down. I've never seen a situation where a player that wanted to get into the league couldn't get into the league.
Okay. One question that I wanted to know, you said that you played hockey mostly on the weekends. What other activities do y'all engage in to keep in shape? Because I know you do a lot of running on a court.
Well, between the two of us and several friends we go and we run around Stone Mountain twice a week. I'm into cycling. Of course, I ice skate a lot. I play ice hockey. I referee ice hockey. I know Kevin's into some things.
It's definitely an endurance sport. I mean, especially to play in the top division.
Right.
It's something where you really do need to be in shape to be competitive. We are definitely out there for fun, but Division I is a pretty fast-paced game, and you really need to be in shape. So I definitely encourage some type of running during the week. I wish I could get my team to run a little bit more,
Hint, hint.
but a lot of running.
Running, skating, cycling, they all help.
Okay. Well, if the viewing audience has any questions at all, just please give us a call at 873-6713. Okay?
And the phones are ringing off the hook.
That's right. Hello? One question I wanted to ask. For power or for accuracy, strength, endurance, what do you think is the most important skill for a hockey player?
That's a tough one.
Does it depend on the positions?
I think as with any sport, I think you have to have some concept of the mechanics of the game, be it basketball, tennis, street hockey, ice hockey, you name it. it helped to have something up here. Endurance, we've already touched on that. You've got to be in shape. Our games generally last about an hour and 20 minutes. It can be 20 degrees outside. It can be 85, 90 degrees last year.
Wow.
Summer League, by the time the 10:30 game starts, it can be 90 degrees. So if you're not in shape, you're not ready to go out there and bust it for a whole minute, I'd say that's probably the most important thing.
I would have to add that, like he touched on briefly, the mental part of the game is really probably the biggest thing, like with any sport. I mean, mentally, you have to be in the game, and you have to
Okay,
know
we have
what to do. Do we have a call?
Yeah, we sure do.
Okay.
Hi, you're on the air.
Hi.
Hi.
I just have a few questions about the specifics of street hockey.
Okay.
But first, I'd like to say that you're really a very pretty girl,
Thank you.
and you should probably be in a magazine.
Oh, well. Anyways, back to the topic.
Hey, I'll tell you, cable access, you got to love it.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we should
That's-
start a 1-900 number.
No.
Need a tape delay here, but it's people like that don't even need to talk about. Did you have a question before that? What were we? Lost my train of thought here.
Well, one thing that I did want to ask is I found out that you are the coach of the UGA team.
Uh-oh.
Yes. And so do you just want to expand on that a little bit? I mean, when did you start doing this? You've got
I've been-
both sides.
I've been coaching at Georgia now for 5 seasons, I believe it is. And, of course, I've been playing ice hockey for almost 20. So it's just something that's, like I said, you're comparing apples with apples, just different kinds. And so I like ice hockey. I like to play street hockey. They go hand in hand. We got the facility out at Stone Mountain. We've also got the facility out at Park Air.
Okay. And just one final fun question. Who's your pick for the NHL playoffs?
I'm going to back out. I'm going to take the easy way out. I say who has the home ice advantage. I say right now it's apparent that Chicago and Pittsburgh are going to head up in the Stanley Cup Finals, but I haven't kept up with when they win those 2 series. Maybe our analyst here can answer that question. Who has the home ice advantage when those 2 teams win? That's my pick.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't know right now who does have the home ice advantage. I was looking at Chicago and Edmonton at the beginning of the playoffs as the 2 teams to look out for. And now Edmonton's down 3-0 to Chicago. And I think Chicago's playing really well right now. And I don't think home ice is going to make any difference with them. If Chicago plays their game, they're well coached, I think you'll see them go and take it their own way. Pittsburgh's a solid team and well coached by Bowman, but I like the Blackhawks.
But I think the Penguins have a little more incentive. It's very difficult to defend that cup, and I think they're a little more motivated at this point in the season.
I have to agree with Bush. I'm definitely going with Pittsburgh. They got
Jaeger
big
or
number
something.
66, Mario Lemieux back
That's right.
after a broken hand. I believe he's still playing with a broken hand. But definitely, Jim just touched on Yager, Jaromir Jagr, tremendous player.
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank both of our guests for coming this week. We enjoyed you very much. And that wraps up our first show. Next week, we'll have Mike Eakin, who is head coach for the Clarkston High School, on, and he'll be talking about the June baseball draft and also the Metro Atlanta players who might turn pro. So you really need to check us out. We're on at 8:30 for Friday night, and thanks for joining us, and hope to see you next week. Thanks a lot.